And I'm almost afraid to ask, but if you guys got any tips on how to find the courage to draw again. I used to draw so much as a teen in school, and now I can't pick up the pencil because I get so discouraged whenever I want to start. I thought this was like the biggest question I had seen on the internet in a long time, because I imagine that a lot of the people that are coming to a place like this are probably in a really similar situation. Like, I wrote out a whole long thing, but like, honestly, like I've been thinking a lot about the subject of like, you know, like how do you get started on trying to do something when you know it's like a long path and it's really hard, and you have either like dropped it a while ago or like put off starting for a really long time. Like, how do you say that like today's the day? Like, what does it take to be able to make that choice? And I feel like I've been able to do that recently with some stuff. But honestly, like I feel a little bit like I'm shooting in the dark here. The best I could come up with is that, you know, kind of built off of what I learned about a meditation practice, which is that like in meditation, like when you are doing it, like the goal of like a focused meditation is just focus on your breath. And so you just breathe and you focus on your breath and you just try to think about the breath, but then your mind starts to wander and you fuck it up, because no one can think about their breath for extended periods of time without them thinking about the way they're thinking about their breath, or starting to think about a thing that's starting to feel a thing and then thinking about the thing that makes them feel that thing. And like your brain just goes crazy when you try to direct it like this. And then the actual, so what meditation teachers teach you is that like the actual act of meditation is not accomplishing focusing on your breath. The actual act of meditation is returning to the breath after you lose it. And so the practice, every time you fall away from it, every time you fail, and then you push yourself back on track, that's like one rep. That is like, that's the skill that you're actually practicing when you're meditating. And I thought that was really interesting. And now I'm finding that that same philosophy has been really useful to me when it comes to this idea of like, I've been putting something off for a long time. I've been like, I was trying to make a habit and I was getting a streak going and then I fucked it up. Like, what do you do when you feel like you're letting yourself down? And it's like, it's the same thing that you can do in like this really tiny instance. It's available in like a larger instance as well, where you have to just like acknowledge the fact that you've fallen away from your goal and that you commit to going back on it. And if you can consider that act of getting back on to be the real goal, it becomes a lot easier. Because the narrative of it becomes a lot more manageable. Like you just presume you're going to fail. Like failing is an essential part of the process, and then you focus on being able to come back to the thing that you intended to do. And so continuously like realigning with your intention like that, it's like it's not as hard because it presumes that you're just going to have to keep doing it. It's like that's what the practice of it is. And I think that when we expect ourselves to be like good at our practice, like good at drawing every day, or like just even like showing up for drawing every day as like the real practice, it's like if we stop doing it, if we ever make mistakes, we're going to be embarrassed and we're going to want to like hide away from that feeling. And that just leads to like procrastination and putting it down. And like, I don't love that idea. I've been there too many times and I don't like it. And I've been trying to figure out a way of solving exactly the problem that Sundari's bringing up here. And I feel like it's getting closer, this idea of like returning to the breath, returning back to the practice. And like when I made the daily channel, I made it called Today is the Day because I kept finding myself saying this a lot recently, where I was like saying, oh, I'm going to study today, or I'm going to post on social media today. All the things I was like putting off. I was like, today's the day. I'm hyping myself up. Today's the day that I like do the thing that I've been promising myself to do. And I thought maybe just like the mantra of it or the hype of it was like the point. But the more I've done it, the more like I've also screwed it up and then immediately gone back to it. And I'm realizing that process of like doing a daily habit and then like having a gap, messing it up, taking a break, whatever, and then getting back on it is so much more powerful to me than like this big gesture, you go to get your gym membership on January 1st, you feel like a fool, but you're like, no, I'm committing. I would say, like, if you really actually wanted to do it, it's what you need to watch out for. Just like go ahead and do it, whatever. But like only consider it a success if you can come back after you fuck it up. That like coming back after you've made the mistakes, that's the real challenge. And that's the only thing that I think that you should be worried about in this, instead of like, how do I prevent discouragement? Like the answer is that like you do it, and then you expect that you're going to like let yourself down again, and then you commit to doing it again. And that commitment back to that center point, that's the game. And I'm curious if that advice is going to help anybody. If you try that yourself and it works for you, let me know. Because like I want to find advice that's actually going to help people. That's like broad advice that's not so directly aimed. And if that's a practice that we can all like try out and it works and help each other with it, like that would be good to have one more tool in the tool belt to be able to help people who are struggling the same way.